Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the introduction of myself and then talk a little bit about my company and what I do at the company and also the drone program within the electric transmission organization. So my name is Angelita Gardner-Kittrell, and I am the manager of Forestry and Line Services at Dominion Energy. I've been with Dominion for almost 29 years now, and I've been in a number of different areas while at the company. I've been in nuclear, distribution planning, circuit calculations, Six Sigma, distribution right away, transmission right away. I've been a project manager, and I'm currently in my current role, as I mentioned, as the manager of Forestry and Line Services. From a background perspective, I graduated from North Carolina A&T University in Greensboro, North Carolina, and a while ago. And my degree is in electrical engineering. And although I'm not really practicing that right now, that has opened up a lot of opportunities. Another interesting fact about me is I actually started at Dominion as an intern, and jokingly, I always say that I have a chronological age, and I also have the age that I choose to be, which is 29, and just ironically, it matches with the number of years that I've been with the company, and so it's miraculous, I guess you can say, that I've been with the company, and I'm only 29 years old as well. Been with the company 29 years old, and I'm only 29 years old as well. So anyway, that's a little bit about me as far as my background. Today, I know we want to focus on drones and the drone program. And so while we're waiting on John to come online, I thought I would share just a little bit of information on how Dominion Energy is currently using drones, at least on the electric transmission side of the company. We have a number of different business units within the company that are also utilizing drones. But in my opinion, at least for Dominion Energy, the electric transmission organization has been utilizing them for a while now, at least since 2015. And so one of the things that we've been working on extensively is trying to acquire a waiver to be able to fly drones beyond visual line of sight. And that effort has been going on for at least 3 years now. And it is definitely a major undertaking. Basically, we've gone through a number of different obstacles and jumped through a lot of different hoops in our efforts to try to acquire that waiver. And right now we're continuing with that endeavor. We're partnering with Virginia Tech and one of our drone vendors in order to be able to acquire this easement. And there's a lot of testing, and it's just a major effort in order to do so. And we're hoping that that we'll be able to acquire this waiver, hopefully within the next 3 to 4 years. And once we do, it will be an asset that we can use across the company in not only electric transmission, but also in other areas and business units of the company. The other area that we extensively use drones is for our comprehensive inspections of our transmission lines, transmission structures. So basically, we conduct comprehensive inspections, utilizing drones. We utilize drones as well as helicopters, but primarily drones for 50% of the inspections that we conduct. So basically what we do is we do comprehensives of the whole system over a 6-year period, and half of those comprehensive inspections are conducted by drones. We conduct routine inspections of the entire system annually, but the drones have definitely provided a lot of visual detail that in order to conduct these inspections, we capture basically the defects for when we conduct these inspections. And we utilize that in order to set up our work orders and identify where work is needed to improve or to maintain the structures that are out in the field. So basically my department within Forestry and Line Services, I have the helicopter maintenance program, which is where the drones fall under. And in that area, we support collecting this data. And once we collect it, it goes to another department, which is our operations department. And they are the ones that actually take the photos, and they utilize them to create the work orders in order to do the repairs or maintenance that's required of the structures. So in a nutshell, that's kind of what we do as far as inspections. Right now, we're inspecting approximately 2,300 structures a year utilizing drones. We're looking to increase that by approximately 350 next year. So we're continuously looking to utilize drones for those comprehensive inspections each year as we continue to conduct them. So one of the things, I guess, for the session today is, what we were expecting to do was to make it somewhat interactive. And so I don't know if anyone has any questions that they want to that they would like to present. If so, you can put those in the chat, and that will kind of give me some direction as to maybe speaking points to see what you guys are interested in hearing about, at least as far as Dominion Energy is concerned. Okay, I think I do have one question here. It says, other than pictures, do the drones collect any other information? Not right now. However, one of the things that I'm looking at doing is, as I mentioned, we have the efforts to acquire the waiver for beyond visual line of sight, which is really a very high level goal. So one of the things that I'm looking to do is figure out ways that we can utilize drones just for everyday usage that doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily dependent on having a beyond visual line of sight waiver. So one of the activities that we're looking at doing is trying to figure out how we can use different attachments on the drones in order to conduct different measurements and collect other data concerning our conductor or the structures. But as far as what we're currently doing right now, basically the drones are just collecting pictures, and we're just focusing on the defects out there and then utilizing that to create a work plan. But the goal is to definitely expand upon that and figure out other ways of utilizing drones, because it's such a big, robust tool that can be used to do a lot of different things. So Jeff, hopefully I answered your question. If you can confirm. Okay, great. So have another question. Do you resource the drone service? So yes, right now we don't. Sorry about that, my computer, I had a pop-up. Right now we only use contracted drone vendors. We don't have any in-house drone pilots or anything like that. However, one of the goals of our aviation department is to at some point develop an internal fleet that could service the needs of not only electric transmission, but also other business units as well, as I mentioned earlier. So Tariq, did that answer your question? Okay, perfect. All right, so next question. Do you find it difficult to analyze all the data gathered by the drones due to the amount of data gathered? Well, that may be a little bit difficult for me to answer because my department is basically responsible for coordinating all the drone flights, and then that information is passed on to a different department for the analysis. But it is definitely, to your point, a lot of data that's being collected and that has to be reviewed. Ideally, one of the things that we would like to do is to at some point use AI in order to do these analyses. But right now, everything is done manually by someone actually going in and taking a look at each one of the photos that's provided by the drone vendor. And as I mentioned earlier, the vendors are only capturing cases where they've identified potential defects. So the vendors are trained to be able to spot those defects, and then that information is passed on to a different department and they actually analyze it. But definitely to your point, it is a lot of data to analyze, and AI technology could definitely improve that process. So Brandon, did I answer your question? Okay, great. All right, next question. We had someone to come in a little bit late, and that's no problem. Let's see. How are you dealing with cybersecurity issues around drones? So definitely a big issue. More so our aviation department and our IT department are more engaged in this, but basically we will be, what we're doing is trying to identify drones and drone companies that have units that are made in the United States and pass our vetting process so that those security issues that have been identified or potential security issues, we would only utilize those drones on our system. So that would include if we were to actually incorporate drones internally, and it would also apply to our drone vendors that we utilize for our inspections. Right now, that list is very short. I think we've only have one drone that has been certified through that process, but we're definitely looking at other drones in order to see if they meet the requirements to be able to be approved for usage on our system. So did I answer your question, Karen? Okay, great. Let's see, next question. Do you find the drones to be as effective as human inspections? I would say yes. Like I mentioned earlier, we have trained folks on the drone crews that are able to identify these defects. When we're utilizing helicopters, we have a lineman that's present as well to help identify defects on the system. So I think it is effective, just as effective. And the thing about drones is you can get images of the structures from different angles versus putting somebody on the ground to do these inspections. It's a little more efficient as far as having to put a bucket truck up and having to go up and actually see so that you can physically see the structures from different angles. So I think it is just as effective as human inspections that do not utilize drones. So did I answer your question, Trevor? Okay, great. So are there any other questions out there? I want to make this, like I said, interactive and kind of give you guys an idea of, hey, Richie, give you
Hello,
guys
Angelita.
the opportunity to kind of guide the presentation. So Richie, just to bring you up to speed as to where we are, basically I did an introduction and we've just been talking a little bit about how Dominion Energy uses drones, particularly in the electric transmission portion of the company. And I just had a bunch of questions that we went through here, and I was just offering up the opportunity for additional questions if anyone has any.
Perfect. Now, I've been tracking it from afar.
Okay.
This is an interesting pivot of the session. You know, I will update everyone that John McDonald, we're having some technical issues, and we're not going to be able to get him to join just yet. I have confirmed with him that this is a really cool conversation, and I've heard it. I've had it before with you guys, and I really want to have it for real. And so what we're going to do is most likely reschedule this and try to broaden the perspectives in the coming weeks. But then I was listening to this, and we will certainly send more information outside of this Hop-In platform, giving everybody some time to put this on their calendar, really getting to talk about, you know, how, Angelita, you guys use drones and robots, and share that information, really get into the details around the information sharing. What does it mean to how you communicate with others inside Dominion, and how other utilities are doing it too. So, but with that said, I do want to, I didn't want to cut off a good conversation here. And so I think that was a interesting kind of way and pivot. And I bet people have many questions about you know, what you're doing and your work at Dominion. So bear with me.
Okay.
So with that said, we will be rescheduling this at a later date. But Angelita, I only came in to say that. I'm hearing questions kind of come in here. If you want to get through a few more of them, and I'll stick around and we can wrap it whenever you're ready. But as long as we're in here and have a couple good questions,
Okay. Yeah, it looks like we have another question here is asking about what types of drones does Dominion use, fixed wing for heavy payloads, and out of sight missions. So yes, we use fixed wing, yes, and some of our vendors do have our beyond visual line of sight waivers, but with the contingency of having to use visual observers as well. So that's part of the mission as far as the crew's mission plan is utilizing visual observers as well. But the drone types are, yeah, definitely fixed wing. As far as the payloads, basically we're using, let's see, I'm not sure if I know, you said for heavy payloads. Basically the payload is the camera that's being utilized. So yeah, it's definitely designed to be able to accommodate that particular weight for the camera that's being utilized. I don't know, Louise, did I answer your question? Multiple sensors. So LiDAR video. So right now we are not well, in my organization, our survey team has just started utilizing drones to collect LiDAR data. And I'm not sure exactly which type of sensors specifically that they utilize, but definitely since we are going to be reconvening for this particular session, that's something I can look into and be able to answer that when we come back together. For what we do as far as our inspections are concerned, we're just using a basic camera. It's not any other sensors or anything that are being utilized on that other than just a camera to capture the images.
Thank you. Thank you, Louise, for those questions.
Let's see. Karen says, do you anticipate adding additional monitoring technologies beyond cameras to the drones in the future, like sensors or chlorophyll for vegetation management? So we are looking at utilizing a sensor that will hopefully help us as far as our beyond visual line waiver is concerned, one of the requirements is to be able to detect and avoid other aircraft, cooperative and non-cooperative aircraft. And so we're hoping that this sensor, which does provide a 360 view of the area that's being flown, will help us in satisfying that requirement. Right now, that camera is in production. We haven't done any testing or anything like that with it, but that will definitely be something that we will be doing sometime next year. As far as drone usage for vegetation management, we're not really utilizing it very much right now. It is something that I'm looking into. We have a lot of interest within the company by folks that are working in the field to have drones as a resource. Right now, as I mentioned, we don't have anybody who has a drone assigned to them, but that is definitely something that we're looking at from a long-term perspective. Did I answer your question, Karen? Okay.
Angelita, when I joined, I know that we wanted to get into a couple other questions. I don't want to, for people that are here, we are absolutely going to reschedule this and do this again. But for those that are here, did you get into some of the kind of data collection and what you do with, all of the data that comes in and how that, the challenges of working in a utility like Dominion that has, multiple kind of different, if you will, silos, is what word we use, but kind of multiple different groups of programs and how that information is shared and utilized. Did you get into some of the kind of ways you work through this?
No, I really didn't talk about that. So maybe I should back up just a little bit. In addition to having the drone program as the manager of Forestry and Line Services, I also have cost controls. I have, we talked about the helicopter maintenance, which is part of the drone program, GIS, also data asset management, and what's the other one? I always forget one of them. Forestry, duh. But anyway, so with the data asset management group, my team basically collects a lot of data to be inputted into our data management system. And one of the challenges that we have, or one of the initiatives, I guess is probably a better word for it, is to be able to let other people within the electric transmission organization know about the data that we are collecting. Because we collect a bunch of information, any line that's constructed, once that line is completed, that data is processed by my team and is put into our data repository. And so in a lot of cases, there are other organizations within electric transmission that may or may not know that this information is available and readily usable, or if it's not in a format that where it can be collected and pulled out, my team has the ability to create different web pages and things of that nature in order to satisfy the need for data, because data is just right, as we all know, we're in a time where everyone wants to have the information that they want right now. So, and we've gotten used to that. We're spoiled. You have the internet, so you can easily just go out now, in your personal life and find anything that you want to find as far as information on the internet. So likewise, I'm trying to create a similar type environment within our electric transmission organization. We have the data, but is it in a format that can be pulled out and pushed out to people on an as-demand need? And so one of the key things that we're doing is, as I mentioned, creating these data pages and also trying to inform or advertise our ability to do this, to provide this information to other organizations in the group. because basically what we want to do is make sure that if the data is available and it's easy to access, and of course by inherently that's going to allow people to do their jobs more efficiently. And so that's one of the key things that my team is focusing on right now, is being able to push that data out to other organizations in the group. And we're doing that by doing, we're trying to get that message out by doing this, I call them infomercials, to basically do a, just a quick video, basically, to show people, okay, this information is available and this is how you acquire it. And if you have information that you need that's not out there, my team is able to pull that information together, publish it, get it out there where it's accessible for everyone.
In real time.
And in real time, yes.
Right? Yeah, that's what's so important with data. Well, thank you for that, Angelita. You know, I don't want to go too far into this, but I really do appreciate your perspectives on this. And maybe I'll give you, if there's any just last comments here. I think we are going to just wrap this up, and I know I do appreciate that everyone joined us and stayed here with us, and Angelita, that you were here, and for those that have joined us recently or missed this earlier, we have everyone's information that wanted to join and participate in this. We also have others that had requested interest in participating in these breakouts throughout the day. And so what we will do is we will reach out afterwards. We'll get this rescheduled. There were some technical issues that we on our end and could not work through on time. And so, just before we kind of thank everybody here and close, Angelita, any other kind of last kind of comments or closing, remarks that you and John were going to work through of, what's next? Like what's the next thing you're doing? What's the work that you're looking to do next year or kind of 2 years from now, based on kind of what you just opened up here?
Well, my company has a big initiative for innovation, and that's one of the things that I definitely have challenged my team to come up with different ideas that make what they do, what their everyday tasks, easier. And so one of the things, and maybe it ties in with my Six Sigma background, is process improvement. So one of the things that's one of the things that I'm really big on. So innovation is very important. I think it should be something that we should all be focusing on, because it makes our lives easier, and it's definitely a big focus as far as Dominion is concerned. Each one of my teams, as I mentioned, has a responsibility to come up with a project that improves how they do their work. And so, as I mentioned, like with the data management, data asset collection, that's one of their initiatives, to be able to get data out and push it out and let people know that it exists. Not only does it help our team, but it helps others within the organization. My cost controls team is looking for different reporting aspects to be able to help to improve their ability to support the project managers in the construction process. So it's just, the big thing in my opinion, is utilizing data, making sure we're always looking at developing innovations that make it easier for us to do our job, because everything is moving at such a fast pace now that that's just kind of the expectation, is that we're able to get things done quicker, faster. And so to be able to do that, you need data, and you need to have initiatives that make it easier to be able to do the things that we need to do.
Great. Well, John, I know, would sum this up perfectly and very thoughtfully, and I'm not going to try to necessarily even channel those words. I'm going to give him that opportunity sometime soon. We hope all of you guys will join us again when we get this rescheduled and fixed, most likely on our Zoom account that will be outside of this, and we'll send everybody more information. But I think that's what you said, Angelita, is really really true for today is what we're hearing is technology isn't just about the technology, or even data isn't just about the data. It's about the people that are using it and how we're using it. And that's kind of this whole day is technology, and every single session is turning into what's it doing for all communities, right? What's it doing for all aspects of the utility business? It just can't be data for you. It's got to be able to be communicated, and that's a human element. So I appreciate those thoughts. John's going to have many more perspectives to add and more questions for you. And I appreciate everyone joining us here. And I think we'll wrap in just a second here and let everyone know that at 3 o'clock our sessions should return, hopefully without any technical difficulties. That's something I might be working on for the next few minutes. But we hope everybody on the main stage, Angelita, you as well, 3 o'clock for a session about just the overall energy transition as defined by DNVGL and some of their partners. And then a session after that at 4 p.m. about energy storage and other disruptive forces that are kind of challenging grid. So thank you all again. Angelita, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch shortly.
Okay. Have a great day.
You do the same.